So this is a full moon forecast, and you see the moon is going to be full in Aquarius 25. You see this is 25:12 Aquarius. Sun is 25, 25:15 or whatever. So 25:15 it'll be full. So this is like the deepest Purnima, the deepest full moon is going to happen on September 12th, which is early Monday morning, 2 a.m. Pacific time. So what can we expect in general for this full moon? Well, it's a full moon in Aquarius, so it means that we're in the Leo cycle because the sun is in Leo. So sun and moon came together. Cycle started in Leo, and then when the sun and moon came together, and then the moon waxes, gets bigger and bigger, fuller and fuller, until the full moon happens 7 houses away in Aquarius. So that's where the moon is now. So the full moon is the balancing point, really, of the sun cycle. So the sun in Leo, it's been a time the last couple of weeks of individual clarity, clarifying our individual strength, our individual power, and really focusing on what makes us individually strong, and having the integrity and the clarity and the consistent actions to allow us to meet those goals. And that's really what Leo is, consistent action. It's fixed, consistent action, fire. And the reason we don't take consistent actions is because we doubt ourselves, we doubt our goal, we forget our path, we forget our purpose. These are all things related to the sun, who is the ruler of Leo. So when we're truly established in power and strength, we remember what fills our heart with inspiration and dignified strength and purpose and duty and power. These are all the things that have to do with the sun and Leo. And you might say, well, duty, power, king, those things don't relate to me, but it does. There are things where you'll act with consistency and strength and authenticity and integrity to meet your challenges. And in fact, really, Leo is a sign of of personal integrity and wanting to act in accordance with our principles and what we know is right, rather than what's easiest, or what feels good, or what's going to make us popular, or all those things. And we're willing to sacrifice those things in order to do what we know is right for the highest good. And that's the nature of Leo in all of us. So I'm talking a lot about that because that's the cycle that we've been in for the last couple weeks. Because the sun has been in Leo, the full moon is the halfway point in that cycle. So the full moon is in Aquarius, which is about considering the needs of the larger group, the needs of the group, the needs of society, the needs of culture, the needs of others. And I'm being very careful to not say your romantic partner, for instance, because that's really not so much about Aquarius. Leo is about our larger goals, not necessarily and we meet our larger goals because we act from a place of individual strength and integrity. But that individual, like glory, is felt more through Aries, and then needing to have that reflected back from a romantic partner is Libra. The Aries-Libra axis is more about my relentless individuality and the need to balance that and harmonize that with a romantic partner, for instance, or individual, like one individual or on an individual level. Leo is much larger. It's not really about us. In fact, Leo is where we sacrifice even our individuality to do something that's big, like a king. A great king is not concerned with his own glory. He's concerned with the kingdom flourishing. But in order to do that, he needs to be very generous, be of service. And you find the opposite sign is where that mirror image, that reflection comes, like in the form of Aquarius for Leo. Aquarius is really kind of like a mirror image and an extension of Leo. The king, who is the one sitting on the throne, at best serves the kingdom, which is the collective, which is literally Aquarius. Aquarius is literally a sign of culture. The culture, the larger needs, society, and even larger things that sustain beyond our individual lifetime. Things like the sciences and the advancements that culture and progress and humanity and the world will make. For instance, especially in old times, we can look at it this way. Many of the great works of art and literature and things like that in old times, things that have sustained even through today, were commissioned by the king or the government. And these were things that were done for the greater good of the culture. Sometimes they were done for their own individual glory, like paint a picture of me, or do a painting of me. But often they were done for things to perpetuate the culture, and they sustain even today. Not to mention things like, like astrology and the sciences were commissioned by governments and things like that for the benefit of the culture. And these are sciences that were built upon. These are things that are all about the Leo-Aquarius axis. Look at what's happening right now in our country. We just had here in the United States, and especially even around the world, because now we have Jupiter in Aries, so there's a lot of revolutions still going on, and we're experiencing one here in the U.S. as well. We just had our president come and do this big jobs bill where he's kind of like the seat of power, and he's basically, these last several weeks has been a time when the United States, for instance, is kind of reeling from having like our currency devalued on a large scale by the one crediting agency and other things, where we've seen where it's kind of common parlance now to talk about how we're slipping, how we're not where we used to be. And a lot of it is because of the selfishness of government. So we're seeing now, hopefully, a shift, but there is actually a shift in some of the rhetoric around, the need to balance the power of the government with the needs of the people. Like I said, our President Obama just came out and addressed the Congress and talking about the needs of the people to, I should say the needs of the government to serve the people and to stop playing politics instead of just being about themselves. And the United States government is a great example of the Leo paradigm gone amok, because the government is there to serve the government, it seems. And so that's the seat of power when it's supposed to serve the people. It's supposed to be elected by the people. This democratic process is very much about Aquarius, which is the individual identity merged and united with the collective and the social fabric. We all share something bigger than ourself with each other, bigger than our individual self with each other. Not just culturally, with the country that we live in or whatever, but there's also globally, and there's also spiritually. Beyond just this lifetime, our influence reaches into the future. Like when we write a book, it's around forever for posterity. History in the past and future are very much about Aquarius. It's ruled by Saturn, which is the awareness of the past and the future, and it's enduring ideas. Saturn is enduring, long-term things, and Aquarius is an air sign, ideas. So, enduring ideas, just like we did with Leo. Consistent action, consistent, fixed action, fire. Aquarius, fixed or enduring, because it's fixed. Air, ideas that endure. It's a very simple paradigm that that you should run all the signs through and understand why they are the way they are, and it'll give great insight. So beyond just the new moon in Aquarius, it's a great time to really step up your contribution and your service, rather than do things just for your own individual glory. Once you commit to things that are bigger than you, that's when the Leo paradigm also really snaps into place, because as long as it's about you and your power and how good you feel and how powerful you look to others, you're going to be impoverished. You're not going to be stepping into the higher Leo paradigm, which is not about being a tyrant and a petty king, but about being a good king who gives and that's the true joy of life, is giving. And seeing the thing that fills your heart with joy and love and beauty shared and magnified, and see that ripple out into society, which is the Aquarius paradigm. So the signs are mirror images of each other, especially when we see the full moon. That's when we can feel it. So we've been feeling the sun in Leo. Now contrast that for the next couple weeks with the need to serve and contribute. It's not about you and your glory and your insecurities and your stress and your power and how much you can do. It's how much you can give. And so beyond that, we also just had Mars and Venus went into their signs of debilitation. So it's a tricky full moon for sure, because Mars is in Cancer, which is his sign of debilitation, because Mars is where we want to be disciplined and strong, and Cancer is soft and emotional. Mars wants to fight and be strong and destroy things that are weak, and, Mars wants a weapon, like a knife or something to cut and destroy the weakness. Instead, he gets into Cancer, and all he gets are like, pillows and comfortable socks and nightgowns and pajamas. It's like Mars is like, I don't want that stuff. Give me a knife and a sword, some fire, something that I can burn or destroy some weakness with. You get into Cancer and it's all like, trying to win a pillow fight. Venus is debilitated in Virgo, because Venus is about compromise, wanting to connect, wanting to overlook the differences and the distinctions that separate us. And Virgo is about noticing every little detail. So it's kind of like, instead of spending time, making love and being happy with each other, you spend time kind of nitpicking. So these two energies are also very much at play right now for this for this full moon. We're feeling those energies. And Venus is going to be getting closer to Saturn as well. So we definitely might feel some of the romance take a hit right now. But for the most part, the big thing about this right now is we're in this Leo cycle. You should always pay attention to where the sun is, because that's what's really being energized at that time. And the full moon is the balancing point, the opposition point of that, where we harmonize the actions and the goals of that time, which now it's Sun and Leo, with the psychology and the awareness that says, oh, but if I really want to meet this goal, if I really want to do this thing correctly, this wherever the sun is, I need to harmonize it with this understanding. So if you really want to be the powerful Leo, you need to be able to serve. You need to be able to connect your individual pride and dignity and joy with the needs of the group. So now I'll go and talk about these things for all 12 signs, and this is for my gold members at my membership site. Those who want to be a member at my member site can do that, and also get a free DVD home study course and some other cool things.